Shalom, 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 peace, peace, shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Rakakwadash, Kal Halalyam, La Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Rakakwadash. Name of this video or the topic is the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up. Before I go into that, I wanted to address something right here. Okay, this is a video that was put up by End Time Teacher. And I don't know if he makes any comments on it. I don't know if he shows a certain part of the video. But you know what? Let me do this. He just shows a clip. Good video. One of the IUIC. I don't know what state that's the matter. And he said, taught it almost exactly the way we taught it, but I want to just address something right here. I got to go back a little bit. 4, 5, do this. Because now the rest of Revelation is taking place in our time. Have taken place. Revelation 9 goes into World War I, World War II, World War III. So the book of Revelation started to come to pass during our time and as far back as World War, like the turn of the century. So give me a second.
So you can see America. To Revelation chapter 18. And let's pick up at verse 1. Revelation chapter 18, verse 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power. And the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So here in America, we have every different spirit that you can think of. There's nothing that you can't do here in America. In fact, only in America do we have a city that is named what? Sin City. That's not going on anywhere else but here in Babylon the Great. Keep reading. Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. What? All nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So all nations deal with America on a very That's not going on anywhere else but here. Different spirit that you can think of. There's nothing that you can't do here in America. Of devilry and the hold of Babylon the great, and the earth was lightened with it. These things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devilry, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So here in America, we have every different spirit that you can think of. There's nothing that you can't do here in America. In fact, only in America do we have a city that is named what? Sin City. That's not going on anywhere else but.
Okay, so I'm going to go through this. Let me go to Revelation 18, and this is how the 7 broke it down. High priest RVR broke it down, and the Spirit didn't sit with me on that. Revelation. That's why I stress that you go through these, what we call breakdowns, over and over again. Because you might understand the whole chapter, but you might be off on certain verses. So you gotta get it 100% right. That's why we here at GMS say we got 100, we have 100% truth. Got to get it right. You know, the video that the other day for these guys rolling up on IUIC Detroit, asked them a question, asked the IUIC members a question concerning Deuteronomy 28 verse 36, and they couldn't, well, not really, they couldn't answer it, period. Like, it's like, well, they never asked, nobody ever asked us that question. We never went through that one. That's not in the precept packets. So the one guy said, the white man. Then they started laughing, in which Vocab Malone had these guys on, these lost souls, these jakes. And he clowned the IUIC. Well, they were both wrong. Well, the Christians didn't say what it was. You got to go back and watch the whole video. But then they said the white man, then he went to, I believe, Hosea. But it was a lot of back and forth. But the brother from the IUIC said Hosea. Then he said Jehoiakim and Babylon. But then they said, the Christians said, the black Christians, he said that they said that we're going to go to a land that our fathers have not known, because we knew that land. I did two videos, and I came back and did a backup to the video that I did the other day with that meeting of those black Christians, and even Apostle Rimlob went a little deeper. He went into more scriptures on that. You know, I kind of touched on it, that we knew in the second video, that we knew about Babylon, because Abraham came out of Babylon. He came out of Ur the Chaldee, which is about maybe 100 miles. Ur the Chaldees, if you go north of the Euphrates River, Babylon is about 80 to 100 miles from Ur the Chaldees, or Mesopotamia. So he went all the way up past that. He went almost 1,000 miles, 800 to 1,000 miles, up to Haran. Then he went southbound down into Palestine, into Egypt. Well, they went from Palestine into Egypt, and they, settled in that region. And of course, the rest of the story, we were put in captivity, and then we was in the wilderness 40 years. And the Most High said, okay, now it's time to take your land, which is the land of Canaan, which was a justification of that was Ham looking upon his father's Noah's nakedness, and his son Canaan was cursed. Why? To justify us. It says, a servant shall you be unto Japheth and Shem, really Shem, because we got that land. So that's a whole nother topic. Anyway, what did I just do? Oh, let me just go to it. Yeah. Revelation 18:1. So you heard what the man said in the IUIC video. He said, you can bring it back and listen to it again. Babylon is falling, right? Revelation 18 verse 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hateful bird. So he said, matter of fact, let me bring it back.
The great is fallen, and it's become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So here in America, we have every different spirit that you can think of. There's nothing that you can't do here in America. In fact, only in America do we have a city that is named what? Sin City.
So he's saying that Revelation 18, let me find this again, Revelation 18 and 2, he said it's talking about how you have all these foul spirits. Matter of fact, you have a city called Sin City. This is after the fact. This is a vision of that John saw after Babylon was destroyed. The U.S. was destroyed. That's what John saw. He didn't see it when Esau came in and took down North American Indians, the tribe of Gad, the tribe of Reuben, and so forth, went up into Canada, all down in this Central and South America. It's talking about after this place is destroyed, after we get delivered. After the smoke clears, as they say. So let's read that again. That's why it's important. You have to understand every verse. You have to understand every verse of every chapter of the scriptures. Like I said, that's why you got caught out there when they ask you the question, Deuteronomy 28, verse 36. If you go through Deuteronomy 28, verse 28, you got to go through every verse. You got to understand every verse. You just can't go to Deuteronomy 28, 68, or Deuteronomy 28, verse 48, or Deuteronomy 28, verse 64. You got to understand when you go to Deuteronomy 28, around about the 50th verse on down, that speaks about the Roman Empire. And it says when you go into these nations, so we wasn't cursed under one. The fulfillment of Deuteronomy was not us going into the Assyrian captivity. What about all the other captivities? Obviously, if you're in captivity under another nation, obviously you're cursed. You're not blessed. Anyway, second verse again, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, fallen. That's an afterthought. That's after Babylon is destroyed. And that's what John saw. And he even saw in other parts of Revelation, he even saw the missiles hitting America. Revelation chapter 9. Now, I heard ISUPK say those in Revelation 9, where it speaks about the horses and they had heads of lions. I'm not going to go to it. I shouldn't have to go to it. Now, if somebody wants to understand it, they can say, well, could you do a breakdown of Revelation 9 since you mentioned it and then go into it? They said it's talking about angels. It ain't talking about angels. It's talking about missiles. So John saw, and then in this same chapter, he saw the destruction. He saw a mighty stone like a great millstone falling on Babylon. Revelation 8. He saw, how do you say, a mountain? I'm not going to, matter of fact, you know what? Let me go to it. Revelation 8. This is another way you drown Christians. They don't understand the prophecies. And that includes vocab alone. If he's such an expert on the scriptures and the Most High is dealing with him, then he can tell you what every prophecy. If you ask him about certain, he's going to stutter, then he's going to make up something. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. That star represents missiles. And it's not just one missile. Give me a second. I'm trying to find his verse. Okay, this is what I wanted. The star represents the missiles. Behold, I saw the stars of heaven fall. 7 verse, Revelation 8 verse 7. The first angel sounded, and there followed hell and fire mingled with blood. Those are the missiles. And they were cast upon the earth. What was cast upon the earth? The missiles. And the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. The third part represents the third part of man, which is Esau's system. This is Esau's system being destroyed. And the thing that's going to destroy it are the missiles and the angels, the Lord and the angels. The ships are going to shoot laser beams. That's in Second Ezra, chapter 13. And the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. Mountain representing governments. This great mountain is the U.S. And the third part of the sea became blood. That's where Esau is, Esau's system. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships, Esau's military navy, were destroyed. Wormwood, and the name of the star is called wormwood is contamination. Chernobyl, out of Ukraine, that disaster, that power plant exploded, and it was called Chernobyl. Now, Chernobyl is a Russian word which means wormwood, and wormwood means contamination. So let's come back. Let's come back over here. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and come the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hateful bird. This right here is talking about these desert creatures, which is found in Isaiah. Immediately, Isaiah chapter 34 should come to mind, because Isaiah saw the same vision that John saw. Got to all be on the same page. Did a video on that. So what Isaiah saw, that's recorded in Isaiah 30, the 34th chapter, is the same thing that John saw. A little bit different. It said, for it is the day of the Yahweh's vengeance. When you read from the first verse on down, you can actually start from the 5th verse. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. The sword represents the missiles. It shall come down upon Idumea, the Edomites. So when did this happen? Vocab alone, when did this happen? He said the last time Edomite was mentioned in the scriptures in history was Herod. Well, wait a minute. Didn't Herod have children? Didn't they plant their seed? Herod had their men of war, their own personal army, which had to be Edomites. There were Edomites fighting in 70 AD. There were Edomites fighting side by side with the kingdom of Judah because they wanted to get into the kingdom. So where did they go? They just all got sick and died? No, they scattered. Just like we were scattered, Esau was scattered, or in the history for economic reasons and so forth. and upon the people of my curse judgment. The ones that's going to get this curse, receive, experience this curse, are the Edomites. And it says Idumea. Look up the word Idumea, is Greek way of saying Edom. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness and with blood of lambs and goats. In other words, these are sacrificial animals. So you Edomites are going to be like sacrificial animals. There's going to be a sacrifice, a burnt sacrifice. This place, America, as I said before, is nothing but a great altar. That's why the prophets are here. Ezekiel 36. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. This is a controversy. And part of the controversy is they're saying that we couldn't possibly be the people. That's a controversy. Let me look up the word controversy and see what the Hebrew word is. Like I said, a lot of these guys, a lot of these camps, they'll go into certain prophetic scriptures, but they'll cherry pick certain verses. Like if you say they read a particular verse in one of the prophetic scriptures, and you say, let's go up 2 verses, what does that mean? They'll get stuck. That's why the IUIC got stuck when they were asked who was a king in Deuteronomy 28, verse 36. You should have immediately said Moses, King David. And well, how do you mean that? There's a thing called reincarnation. The king, how do we know it's the king? Because it said the Most High is going to raise up unto you David, which is the king. Rayab, strife, controversy, dispute. We're saying that we're the people, and they're saying, oh, you're not the people because the people are already there, which we call the white hats. Strife, quarrel, argument, as we get the word argument, dispute, controversy, case at law. When you go before the court, it's because of a controversy. If somebody lent you money and wrote it on it, say you owe me this amount of money by next month, and they don't pay it, but they said, no, you gave me the money. That's on the court shows, right? So it goes in the court before the judge because now it's a controversy. He's saying, I gave you money. Here's the receipt. You're supposed to pay me back on this amount. And he says, no, that wasn't me. And I gave you the money, this, that, and third. No, I never got the money, blah, blah, blah. That's a controversy. So the controversy is that who are the people of the Most High? Rayab, strive, right? Contend, to strife, physically with words. With words, this is a back and forth. We say we the people. These Southern Poverty Law Centers say that, we are not the people, and it's not so many words, to conduct a case or suit legal. Sue, to make complaint, to quarrel, to contend against. So that's what we're fighting against. They're saying that they're the people, and they're not the people. And they don't fulfill any of the scriptures. Do they fulfill Isaiah 2 verse 2? Do they fulfill Micah 4 verse 2? Do they fulfill Deuteronomy 28 verse 1 on down, like the first 14, 15 verses, where it says they're gonna when they're blessed, they're gonna be over all the nations. The small hats are not all over all the nations. The land of Israel is being propped up by billions of dollars from the U.S., and that's a fact. So come on, let's come back over here. going all around the world. Bear me for a minute. Come back over here. Well, we covered that, Revelation 18. Oh, I'm sorry, let me do this. This. It's a verse. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance and the year of his recompense, payback, the controversy of what? Of Zion. Zion are the Israelites. Remember us. We are the apple of the Most High's eye, and the stream thereof shall be turned into pitch, brimstone, that shall not be quenched, not night nor day. This is also in Revelation. The smoke thereof shall go up forever for a long period of time, long duration, generation and generation. It will go up for a number of years. It shall lie waste. That's talking about the U.S. None shall pass through it forever and ever. The forbidden zone, so you can say, you can, might say. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it, the owl also, and the raven dwell there. When you go to a desert, a vast desert, what living creatures do you see there? You see these desert animals that are built to live in the desert. In it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion. What does it mean by the line of confusion? Meaning you can't, this was formerly America. There's no place, it's just desert. Where New York used to be with the skyscrapers, that's all desert. Where Las Vegas used to be, that's all desert. Where Colorado used to be, that's all desert. Where Texas used to be, that's all, it's going to be a desert 5,000 miles square. And the stones of emptiness. And there's not going to be anything to build on. They shall call the nobles. In other words, if they were to call the nobles, none shall be there. This is a poetic talk. And the thorn shall come up in her place, nettles and brambles, Komodo dragons. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the islands, and the sad tree shall cry. Sad tree, now let me look up the word sad tree. Okay, sad tree is a he goat, hairy he goat, buck as sacrificial animal. Satyr may refer to a demon-possessed goat, like the swine of Geb. The hell? Gedara. Okay, so I guess that means swine or goat or something like that. But it's a desert creature. So that's what it's talking about. Let's come back to Revelation 18. So this right here talking about after the fact. This is after Babylon is completely and utterly destroyed. So what John saw were these desert-like creatures, creatures that can live in the desert. And you have a lot of these birds. What they'll do is they'll land and see what scavenger birds. Then they'll keep flying until they leave that area of America, and they'll go to an island. They'll go where there's vegetation or other animals that they can devour. So that's what that's talking about. Now let's go from here to back to Revelation 16, verse 12. And it's the title, the river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon. Oh, and by the way, when you go to the first couple of verses, anybody that accepts that mark, they're gonna suffer a grievous sore. In the mark, the MOTB is the Quran. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark, the MOTB, and upon them which worship his image. It's not talking about a picture Caesar Borgia. It's talking about the Roman system. This system that we're under is based upon the old Roman system. That's why you have a Senate. Caesar, the word emperor means commander, chief commander, commander. The president's also known as commander, commander in chief. Commander or commander in chief goes back to the word emperor. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as blood of a dead man, and every soul. So right, this is what I wanted. Anybody that got that gets that charagma, they're gonna suffer grievous sore upon the men which had the mark. That be a cancer. This is what I wanted. And blaspheme the Most High. They're gonna blame it on the Most High that they got this cancer. Whether it's gonna be in their brains or on their hands or their whole body, they're gonna experience legions all over their whole body, sores of heaven, and blaspheme the Most High in heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. And that's Jake. That's talking about Jake. Esau can't repent. Jake is going to try, they're going to try to go to the Most High, please, Lord. Then they're going to say, F the Most High. And it says, and repented not of their deeds. They're going to still want to eat pork. They want to still want to commit adultery. 12th verse. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared for that battle. And I saw 3 unclean spirits. So we're coming to this point right here. That war over there in the Russians are fighting against the people of Ukraine, China. They're doing exercises with various nations. And there's a secret war going on. I believe it's in Syria. You got the U.S. troops fighting there, but they're leaving it out of the news because there's a thing called secret wars. You have a war someplace, but you don't tell nobody. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the false prophet. False prophet, it represents the Roman Catholic Church And Vatican City is not Babylon. The Roman Catholic Church and all the baby churches, daughter churches, Baptist, Methodist, Jehovah's Witness, Seventh Day Adventist, Pentecostal, Calvinism, uh, Protestantism, which the Calvinists are Protestant, they protested against the Roman Catholic. They're not, but vocab is not but a reformed Roman Catholic. That's all he is. That's why he believes that there was a virgin birth. He got that from the Roman Catholic Church. That's why he believes that there's a place called hell. He got that from the Roman Catholic Church. But the Roman Catholic Church, if you get a Roman Catholic Bible, the Apocrypha is found in the Bible. Oh, but no, we don't deal with the Apocrypha. So the Apocrypha is found in the Roman Catholic Bible. But they are spiritual devils working miracles which go forth unto the kings of the earth. Now, Isaiah 14 should come to mind. And of the whole world, in an oikomeni sense, gathered them to the battle of the great day of the Almighty. This battle is not going to happen until they chip the whole world. Oh, I come as a thief, blessed is he that watches and keeps his garments. What does it mean by keeping his garments? Meaning the righteousness of the saints. Meaning you're wearing this truth. You're about this truth. You're always out there on the highways and the byways. You're always doing videos. That's what that means. Ones of you that have taken a break, oh, I'm not going to do this for 6 months. I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a 2-year break. I'm going to take a hiatus. You're going to be caught out there. As he walked naked, and they what? And they see his shame. Gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. So that's what we're coming. That's the line of events. Armageddon is not going to be fulfilled. First, the great chipping has to be fulfilled. So now, let me do this. Okay, and I'm gonna close it. Drought hits West Asia's longest Euphrates River. 12 MN, whatever that means, face. I guess it's 12 million face water shortage in Syria and Iraq. Prophecy of Euphrates River drying up is happening now, 2022. This was put up as of 2 months ago. That's why you can't make this book with any other book, because we deal with this Bible deals with all the prophecies. You're dealing with other books, other philosophies, other ways of life, you're going to get caught out there. And you're going to get a karagma. The Euphrates River is just as of 2 weeks ago. Something strange is happening. Euphrates River is drying up, part 2. Something strange is happening. That was 2 weeks ago. 1 month ago, hidden beneath the Euphrates. The Euphrates River is drying up, and what's underneath may shock you. Fallen angels down here. It didn't say they were fallen angels. The 4 angels found at the drying rivers, Euphrates River, drying up 2022. This is a day ago. Let me go back over here right quick. I'm sorry, 16. The 6th angel poured out his wrath, poured out his vial upon the great river, the river Euphrates, and it was dried up, that the way the kings of the east might be prepared. That's Isaiah 14. This is what I wanted to do. Revelation Revelation 9. Where can I go? So I always go back to the prophecies. Because to show you that these angels are not deep. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loose, which were prepared 1 hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay the what? The third part of men. Go back to Revelation 8. The third part of man represents the sons of the wicked. And the number of the army of the horsemen, that these are talking about the missiles, Joel 2, were 200,000, 200 million. I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses, which is the missiles, not the angels, in the vision. And the angels are going to be a part of initiating these missiles. So Esau don't got to press no goddamn button. And them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and of brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions. It's not talking about lions. It's not talking about actual horses. It's talking about the missiles. And out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. That's from the warheads. By these three was the third part of man, Esau, the wicked, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of the mouth. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. The mouth is the warheads, multiple warheads. That's what does the damage. That's what brings death. And the tail is the delivery system, the rocket. For their tails were like unto serpents. And when you see a missile in the air, it looks like a flying serpent, fiery flying serpents, Isaiah 14, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. They don't not only hurt, they kill. And the rest of the men which were not killed, that's different places of Europe that wasn't hit, because they're going to be afar off, seeing the smoke come up from Babylon the Great, Revelation 18, and they're going to mourn because they're not going to make no money. The Chinese and these other nations that have become rich through the fact that the American people are nothing but vast consumers. You give them a credit card, they ain't got no money to pay it. They'll max it out, they'll mess up their credit. By these plagues, yet repented not of the works. Esau still not, no, I ain't did nothing, I'm righteous. They're going to still think that the Most High is a white man of their hands, and that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver, because they got a lot of them going to run to the church in Europe, in different parts of Europe. They're going, let's go to the church. And brass and stone and the wood would neither can see nor hear nor walk, neither repented they of their murders. Esau ain't saying, I'm sorry for putting you in, for my foreparents putting you in slavery. Because if they were sorry, they would give you reparations, man. They wouldn't make you the last hide in the first fight, as they say. Nor of their sorceries, because all their power comes from the left-hand side. Nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. So anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.